Hello everyone. It's no surprise that Elden Ring is an absolutely fantastic game with a huge variety of ways that you can approach PvP, whether it's leaning into a character roleplay, just goofing off with weapons that you like, that I'm kind of doing here at rune level 87, or if you're trying to optimize something in terms of finding a true combo or maximize the damage of a particular spell. There's so many ways you can play and enjoy PvP in this game, and not one of them is wrong as long as you're going in to have fun with a positive attitude and being respectful to other players. And like obviously ambushes and stuff are fine. What I'm talking about is just like leaving things in the game, accept wins and losses gracefully, don't cheat, etc. Um, and optimization is not opposed to fun. Like, you can take something goofy and try and make it as good and viable as possible. You can take a character cosplay and and with the given constraints on it, try and maximize the damage. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And heck, if you're trying to roleplay a Havel-like knight or a heavily armored knight that can wade through an onslaught of attacks, going into the mathematical details could even be a huge help in the roleplay because you can know what poise breakpoints you might need or what armor sets are the best for you, so you can be able to take those hits and keep swinging. So all that being said, it's like this is an amazing game, and I know that I made a video previously saying for build optimization, don't sweat the details, and the point of that one was really to like not the point was invasions are very chaotic and you don't necessarily need a particular damage threshold. You can just play smart and pull out wins while doing it while using silly stuff, and so really that was just like, don't be afraid to try new stuff, experiment, and don't be afraid to learn and lose. That it wasn't. I I don't think anyone thought I was trying to say playing the numbers game is a bad thing, especially if you enjoy it. It's just don't like it's trying to say that you don't need a specific damage output or anything in order to play. You can just invade and jump right in. So why am I trying to be affirming and validating? Well, I ended up watching a video recently that I think the intent was good in terms of giving it the benefit of the doubt, talking about how leaning into character roleplay and having better immersion can make a better PvP experience. However, it was not tactfully discussed, and I think there were a couple things that were really isolating and divisive in for the PvP community, especially with regards to lower level invasions. Um, and those two two points were regarding hard swaps, which is manually going into the menu and changing your weapon, and whether you should restrict your equipment when you're invading at low level. So hard swaps are worth merit of talking about. They are a mechanic in the game that is very vanilla and encouraged, like, to change your equipment. Like, you can stand in solo play, stand in a boss arena, and swap weapons if you're not doing very much damage, because let's say you're using a katana, but the boss is the gargoyle twins, so you want to switch from your katana to a strike damage weapon to see if you can defeat the boss faster. Like, that is, like, very good in a safe space. Some of the complaints about hard swapping could be that it is a little immersion breaking because there's not an animation of re-equipping, even if it is similar to pulling a giant hammer out of your pocket, which seems very ridiculous, like Link pulling the ball and chain out of his pocket in Twilight Princess and having his infinite inventory. But I can understand this. You can have the same multiple copies of the same weapon equipped with multiple different Ashes of War, and not seeing a re-equip animation could be a little bit frustrating if you're surprised by an alternate Ash of War. So discussion of hard swaps is very valid, especially because it can be something that's intimidating to people who are new on the PvP scene, and it might seem like a bad sportsman type thing, or it could be, or it could potentially feel immersion breaking if you're doing a more dedicated cosplayer build, or restricting yourself to using a soft swap can feel very rewarding in terms of preparation. However, in the video they compared hard swaps to Estus canceling, which in Estus canceling is where you do a particular set of movements in Dark Souls 3, so when you use your Estus flask it doesn't remove a charge, giving you infinite heals. Now, in my opinion, this is just straight cheating. If we're going to Super Smash Bros., specifically Super Smash Bros. Melee, you could consider hard swapping akin to wave dashing, a very advanced movement where you might not be doing something perfectly intuitive, but it still doesn't really interfere with the other person playing the game. Where Estus canceling is like pausing to deliberately mess up with someone's inputs or just unplugging their controller. In my opinion, this is just straight cheating and is bad for the game, like helmet swap in Elden Ring, which was patched out along with the Bloodhound step nerf. I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's opinions on hard swapping, but making the direct comparison to hard swapping and people who use hard swapping to people who use Estus canceling and cheating is unfair, divisive, and is just downright rude. So I think that comparison was very divisive because hard swapping is used in a lot of the PvP community. Yes, it can be used for big advantages, like for parry swaps and crit riposts, or you could just do something ridiculous and change to one of the trumpet or horns or just a giant hammer after a parry in order to smack someone in the most ridiculous way possible. Or you can even just like change your whole armor set. Like, this is all stuff worth talking about, but it is very much vanilla, intuitive mechanics of the game that are presented to new players overall, and is not discouraged at all in-game from you doing, unlike straight cheating, like giving yourself extra heals, helmet swap, or even something making equating hard swap equivalent to using the chainsaw exploit glitch, however you want to call it. So I think that is a very poor choice of discussion and is very alienating to a lot of people who use hard swaps, or you just hard swap mid-invasion because you're in like a fight club and you don't feel like using whatever weapon you want to anymore. So I think discussing hard swaps is important, but throwing them into the discussion with straight cheating was just very poor taste. And then in terms of restricting your build on low-level invasions, although I might just be salty and I might have misheard and just was in my feelings, but what they were talking about Limgrave locking a build. Now, if you're doing an area locked build or cosplay for fun because you enjoy the challenge, great. What they made it sound like is that they were morally superior in doing low-level invasions by locking their build specifically to Limgrave, because that's the first starting out region. Well, my big gripe with that is that it completely disregards any actual weapon balance in terms of PvP, and it throws knowledge under the game, let alone, again, isolating and alienating people who are doing a potential late-game cosplay, like a Black Knife Assassin, Mesmer Soldier, or something else where it isn't necessarily as strong PvP-wise, but requires late-game equipment. So it's incredibly alienating to them, saying that you're on the moral high ground by not using those type of things, even if they're goofy, like one of the Lendell trumpets. And the other part of this is Limgrave and Limgrave adjacent areas have some of the most PvP staple stuff in the entire game. Specifically, like the Claymore and Zweihander are PvP staples. Like being able to have a thrusting heavy attack, which is directional, is very powerful. Limgrave also is home to the Dragon Communion seal, and if you walk not too far, you can go to the Temple of Dragon Communion, and without defeating any boss other than Agil, who is one of the first dragons, acquire Rot Breath that's attack boosted by a talisman that's already in Limgrave. And Limgrave has arguably two of the best daggers in the entire game, Misery Cord, which is the highest crit modifier, and Reduvia, which is bleed buildup is absolutely ridiculous. And Halberd off-hand axe are both purchasable from merchants regardless of what you start with, and there's a droppable bleed ash of war from the knight in crap, I forget what castle it is, but it's Kenneth Heights Castle with the Bloody Slash Knight that you can throw on a twin blade. So you can have a bleed twin blade in Limgrave. And if you walk not too far to Liurnia, you can get Endure Bloodflame Blade Hook Claws. Like, these are crazy powerful PvP things, all in Limgrave. So saying that being Limgrave locked is advantageous to new players is not necessarily the case, because you can be Limgrave locked and still have a robust PvP loadout that no one would sneeze at. Especially you could get an entire full Banished Knight set of armor drops from Godric's Castle, as well as get the Beast Champion armor from Bernharl if you bump it off, or even get Stormhawk axes early from Nephili if you bump her off. So there are so many PvP staples in Limgrave itself that saying you're morally superior for being Limgrave locked is just wrong. You can still use some of the absolute best PvP setups while still restricting yourself to things in Limgrave. It completely disregards the actual quality of the weapons, or if someone's using Mesmer's War Axe, or if you go look at the frame data thanks to Rust Bucket for like doing a ton of very useful frame data studies, it's arguably a worse weapon because it takes an extra frame in order for the light attack to come out, and it doesn't guarantee true combo with the running R1 and the halberd like the hand axe, which is purchasable in Limgrave. So basically, I thought this video was kind of divisive and a huge feel bad because of the bad tact of the discussion. So I just want you to affirm, like, Elden Ring's a video game that we're playing to have fun. If you're just, like I said, if you're being respectful and playing for fun, like, go for it. There isn't anything wrong with using a silly weapon you found from the DLC at low level, because also you can run into phantoms and hosts that just have dropped endgame weapons for each other. Like, they don't even necessarily have had to have earned those weapons. You have no idea what you're going up against thanks to random queuing. It's anyone of any skill level. So having a good loadout just to be prepared if someone wants to do like competitive tournament level stuff at low level is honestly recommended by me. Like, if someone wants to play high level melee Final Destination no items and you roll into their world, why not just embrace it? There's nothing wrong with that. And if you roll into my world while I'm Taunter's Tonguing and I want to play on Big Blue with bombs only on very high, well, I hope you have fun, but that's sometimes what happens because I want to have a goofy good time. So with that being said, like, they were like, if you weren't Limgrave locked, you were twinking, which personally is a term that I don't like to use very much because I know that twink is a word that has context in the LGBTQ plus community, and it's generally used as a derogatory term in Elden Ring, so I wish we would use it as a different term. But basically, they were saying that if you didn't Limgrave lock yourself, you weren't being kind to the player base, even though, like, PvP veterans can be making new characters and going through the early levels of the game, playing with their friends and having the numbers advantage. So you might need or want some endgame equipment to help you out. Or in terms of the roleplay, if you're role-playing a Black Knife Assassin, which is introduced as a boss in Limgrave and Liurnia, like, and that armor isn't available until Consecrated Snowfield, and it's like, it's good, sleek, nice armor, and it has a nice added effect to it, but it's not like poise breaking armor. Like, the scale mail in Limgrave is arguably more of a PvP staple than the Black Knight armor. Like, it throws so much context out the window, and I feel like alienates players who are just having fun with whatever style they feel like. So I just want everyone to have fun and play the game and not be divisive. And I'm not saying I'm not linking anything of this video because it was just a feel bad watch and I feel like not done very tactfully and no one has time for beef. I just want to affirm you that have fun. It's a video game. Don't feel bad for how you're playing. Just engage and be spreading positive joy in the community because I love this game and I want as many people to play and enjoy this game as possible and have the PvP community be as inclusive as possible. Because like there is so much like crap with like actual cheaters, AFK farmers, and everything else that we've had to deal with in this game, causing an arbitrary divide over semantics on how to PvP is just not worth it, in my opinion. I know I was more heated for this, but thank you. I hope you enjoyed all the invasions. Like I said, this was me just altering up the fashion of the Forlorn build. It's rune level 87, 40 strength, 16 dex, 16 faith, off of base profit with 50 vigor, and then the rest thrown into endurance just so I can hold stuff. And I'm just having a good time. And I've been running into some of the best, most fun PvP, like, since I've ever played this game. Like, right now, invasions are good. And I hope that you get good invasions too. So that's why I don't want to linger on all of the crazy negative stuff. Just have fun, have an amazing day, take care and be well. You deserve a good day. Thank you so much for watching and all your time, and hopefully I catch you in the next one. See ya.